Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. And our First NBC Bank Prep Showcase was a rousing success with high school baseball this year. We hope people enjoyed it, Lenny. And to that end, we got a little bonus coverage of our own coming up this evening. The state playoffs underway in 5A, and you'll have the opportunity to watch and listen to second seed Brother Martin hosting 31st seed St. Paul, 7:30 at Kirsch-Rooney Stadium. We'll have it on WGSO 990 AM on radio, but you can watch it live at SportsNola.com tonight.
Yeah, how about that? A little bonus playoff coverage. I know there's probably interest from all over the country in this. When one of the things that we talk about, and interestingly, that was the regular season game between these two got rained out. It was originally going to be a TV game, and we did this game last year, in fact, on TV. But one of the things everybody looks to look at is projectable players and recruits and, scouting and drafting potential and things like that. Well, arguably, you've got the two best players in that regard in the state of Louisiana in Greg Dykman of Brother Martin and Handsome Monica of St. Paul's. Dykman is signed with LSU. Monica is signed with Arizona. And, two guys, I would imagine there are going to be a ton of scouts sitting behind home plate tonight at Kirsch-Rooney.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. 3 5A games going on today. All the rest are tomorrow. Sulphur and Acadiana, that's a 3 5A district matchup. They split their regular season games. That's a 16-17 matchup. And another Catholic League matchup of very familiar foes. The 12-seed Shaw hosting the 21st-seed Holy Cross at Winterscheid Field at 4 p.m. They split their two games in radically different fashion. 14-4 win for Holy Cross, 14-5 win for Shaw. Crazy, but we'll see how that works out. Speaking of baseball, LSU won 2 out of 3, and that's acceptable, Lenny. They really wanted to sweep Tennessee, who is a lower-end SEC team, but it's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy in the SEC to sweep anyone. And, basically your top 10 last week, everybody lost at least once. LSU actually moved up a spot on the Baseball America poll on Monday from 9 to 8. But it's, you feel like in the position they were in on Saturday night, taking a 3-2 lead into the 8th inning. They gave up 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, perhaps let it get away. Had the bases loaded, one out in the bottom of the 8th, hit into a double play. You feel like the sweep was there for the taking and you didn't get it. Depending on how things shake out at the end of the year, if LSU's right on the cusp of a national seed, perhaps that could be a game that Paul Maneri and his crew will go back and look at and say, that is one we should have had if they're on the wrong side of that national seed bubble.
Third overall in the SEC right now. I think they've got to get to at least top 2, and they've got to be a top 10 team in the RPI to have a chance to be a host for a super regional. We'll see. Delgado, big series win over Baton Rouge Community College, sets them up pretty well for the postseason.
Right. They will be at home, at least for the first part of that, off this weekend, and then home the following weekend, hosting Baton Rouge and Meridian. The format we've become familiar with in those 3-team tournaments. They play a round robin the first day, and that kind of sets the bracket for the rest of the weekend in terms of how the matchups will go. But Delgado will be the number 1 seed as the regular season champion. So if it does become a situation where everyone splits, then they've got the advantage of having everybody play into them for the championship game. Of course, if you win 2 on that first day, you've got the mulligan, so to speak, when you go into the championship round.
And kudos to Nicholls State. Here's a baseball program that's really risen, Lenny. They're right at the top of the Southland Conference now.
Yeah, number 1 after a sweep of UNO. How about that? That's a great job by Seth Thibodeau and his crew down in Thibodaux, and maybe a chance for a regular season title, something they haven't done in several years. We've seen some successful Nicholls State teams over the years. Of course, Mike Knight built a very solid program down there in the 70s and 80s. But that's good, and it's a very good Southland Conference. I mean, Sam Houston State has been good over the years, and a lot of good play out of Texas Southeastern we've seen recently is how well they've played. So. Kudos to Nicholls. Still 3 weeks left in the regular season on everybody's front there, but for the moment, first place.
Final baseball note, what a week it was for the Zephyrs. They now have a 5-game winning streak, having swept Omaha in a 4-game series and Johnny Giavotella. So they really got things turned around. They needed to, burying themselves early, Lenny. So this is good. Now they hit the road for Nashville, opening a road trip tonight.
Yeah, they had been awful at home and suddenly righted the ship with 5 straight wins. The finale of the previous series, and took Wednesday off and proceeded to sweep 4. So yeah, exactly. 8 in a row now on the road. Actually, 16 of the next 20 on the road. So you only got 4 days over the next 3 weeks to see the Zephyrs at home, and that comes your way next week.
Can't resist it, but when you say this, you have to say it. soon you'll know, because he's put himself on the map, played phenomenal golf at the Zurich Classic this past weekend. He was the best from start to finish, and just tremendous, just wouldn't bogey. The guy just got himself up and down throughout, played great golf, deserved to win the tournament. Another first-time winner, a familiar theme for the Zurich Classic.
What's that, 7 out of 10 years now we've seen a first-time winner come out of the Zurich. And, we saw a lot of sensational play. You may not have known the name, soon you'll know, before this weekend, but I think people will be talking about him. He shot up the FedEx Cup points rankings, up all the rankings out there, has punched his ticket to Augusta next year, the PGA Championship this year, and he's only 22 years old. So I think this is a guy you will see make some noise on the national, international golf circuit in the near future.
And certainly good for South Korea on the heels of the ferry disaster. He wore a ribbon to commemorate that on his cap. Overall, good tournament. The weather was great, cooperated. You wish you'd have a little bit of a stronger field. You wish you'd have a named champion, but soon you'll know deserved to win. It's that simple. As for Keegan Bradley, he was positioned to win, and he's been there, done that, but he spit the bit on Sunday.
Yep, triple bogey, put him basically out of it, hit it in the water, and then proceeded to three-putt after that. And that's on a course that's yielding as many birdies as the TPC of Louisiana did. A triple bogey is almost, it's like giving more than 3 shots away. It's like giving 4 shots away in some cases. So you can't have those kind of mistakes. That was the thing that Soon You'll Know did. I mean, he played bogey-free golf for the first 3 days, gave back a couple yesterday, but it built up a cushion that still enabled him to win.
And finally, another loss for the Voodoo. They're 1-5 as they got beat at Orlando 63-48. Played much better overall, but undid by turnovers, as has been the case all year. 4 of those, but on the kicking game, fumbling kicks, or not able to handle kicks off the nets, onside kicks. Just that third version of football decides so many games at any level, and certainly this is the case again. Special teams just absolutely crushed them, as they have all year.
Well, the turnovers have been a broken record, but perhaps coming from different places now, maybe you can address that a little bit. But still, it's got to be frustrating, especially a team they beat Orlando earlier this year, and a chance, without the turnovers to be in this game, and you give it away in the kicking game.
They played better, have an off week now before they get back to action at Philadelphia. That's our First NBC Bank weekend preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Lenny, as always, thanks. Have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.